Alright, let's, sorry, we're kind of in the middle of something, but let's actually test one of these, missions of the past.
You joined us in another life and death battle.
Each of them will be connected to a word, an elven word that represents a virtue. And Celebrimbor will explain us what kind of virtue it is and how it's connected to the feast.
We had ambition in abundance. I had the one
the true challenge is fighting with all this Vaseline smeared onto the camera.
Maybe that's the secret, you know. Celebrimbor wants to show again how big his dick is, but he kind of exaggerated.
So that's all you had to do. So that's all you had to do to defeat Sauron. Just rub Vaseline in his eye.
I mean, considering the helmet, you could have just, you know, pour something to cover his eyes, I guess.
You see, I was so awesome I was able to do this even with my vision blurred.
But yeah, like I said, your main objective is to kill 30 enemies, but the side objective that will give you silver and gold respectively will be instead, you know, having perfect counters instead, or reach a hit streak of 30. You can get a perk that flashes a bit more when the counter is near you, and thus, you know, gives you the perfect. If you perform that, you will knock down the enemy, or if you have acquired the sub perk, will potentially kill them instantly if you're not a captain.
Also, Jova, yeah, of course he could do it while having sight problems because of Vaseline. He cheats because he's like the equivalent of Middle Earth of the Antichrist.
I mean, I suppose.
He's a dark figure. He can do practically anything God can, except he uses it for evil, and he's actually of corporeal form.
Okay, to be fair, please remember, Sauron is not exactly the equivalent. Melkor or Morgoth actually is more applicable. Yet to think of... God, what's a good parallel? If Satan's secretary, you know, became in charge after Satan was killed.
Yeah. I guess I can't really think of a specific. I mean, if it was God, we would just say Saint Peter. But does the devil ever have any kind of number 2 figure?
It really depends on... Well, that's the thing, Jova. A lot of times, when I do what you mean, you know, the Lord of the Flies and everything, a lot of times, because of the different misconceptions whatever over centuries and how fucking vague in actuality the Council of Nicaea has been, a lot of religious people mistakes and things that Beelzebub and Satan are the same thing when they're not.
Yeah. Trust me, I know about that, but yeah, usually, you know, before that point, Beelzebub was like Satan's second in command. That said, there is a demon called Malthus, which is also sometimes regarded as that.
Dante is a sort of an equivalent a bit in the form of Malakoda, but that's not really equivalent to that. I mean, if anything, like he said, when it comes to the Midlord, it incarnates the spirit, you know. Melkor was the number 1, but when he got taken out, Sauron rise to power as a result. So there is that. And again,
but anyway,
gone.
I kind of found it awkward because the one I was voicing for was actually Kellen Brimbor in regards to this flashback.
Well, if there's anything that the previous game showcased in the DLCs, that Kellen Brimbor was far from being a saint.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Like, and honestly, he and Sauron were...
much of a saint in a sense of the light obfuscates his eyes.
Was it ambition or arrogance that bade me face Sauron directly? Yet...
Oh, it's not my fault. It was the ring who slid my finger. Fuck off.
Oh yeah, okay. Whenever you fuck up, always blame the ring.
Okay, to his credit, the scenes constantly show that he did have Sauron on the ropes until Sauron pretty much did a yoink with the ring, so I guess for once that's not him talking
that was
out
the
of
point
his
of
ass.
the previous virtual. Like, he was thinking if he was too arrogant or not, and, you know, that got to his head or not. But when he dismissed it, I know the ring just leaped me. I love this particular side mission because, especially a bomb rush, ignore all the other orcs because you need to brutalize the captain, so you can just really to ignore everyone else, but still, you know, zigzag so you don't get spotted particularly. It's perfectly viable.
And the
Until you
game
reach
says-
an higher point so you can perform an Assassin's Creed kill.
I was about to ask, like, are you supposed to do something special in regards to quote-unquote brutalizing him?
Similar to the previous game, when you're about to stealth kill an enemy, if instead of square you press triangle, Talion in this case Calibrim will perform brutalization, which sacrifices the stealth giving to create a psychological effect that will scare all the nearby orcs. And if you perform it on Captain, obviously almost all of his followers will just tuck tail.
One thing I do notice
There we
also
go.
is
There you
that
go, easy gold. Go on.
one thing I notice also is like, well, the speed up function is a lot faster in this
I
game
will
than in the
mention that
previous
also as it
one.
goes on, but yes, the game gives you also different, different tools in order to improve your mobility, so you're never, too far behind, or it takes a while. With bigger map, it's kind of required.
Our battlefield glories made me believe we were invincible, but they blinded me to the true danger. Sauron.
Well, I guess he admits that he was blind in some regard.
Light and
Has there ever been an origin story for Sauron?
Well, yes. Remember, the Silmarillion mentions that even he's a major antagonist in the side story of Beren and Luthien. Anyway, let's reprise.
I still haven't really read the books.
If you ever had a chance, I will suggest you. But let's reprise the main story when we meet a couple more new characters.
There's no time. We can only take the most valuable.
We're taking everything.
Idri, sacrifices must be made.
That's kind of a tagline of this game: sacrifices must be made.
Fear.
Oh there. Who are you?
He looks like Chadwick Boseman.
He's not.
Well, I know
Yeah,
it's not,
This
but he
guy's called
looks a lot
Baranor,
like
and he's
him.
voiced by Aikamandi.
We don't even know your name.
This guy, we will get more of his backstory later, and one of the DLCs dedicated to him. This guy is a Haradrim that essentially, got integrated into Gondor. This was clearly an intent of a developer to try to humanize more what the book and the movies did in saying, oh, Haradrims were bad, and it could have been bad connotation. Never mind, unfortunately, the fact that the Haradrims are supposed to be more Arabs than Africans, but you work with what you have, I suppose.
Aikamadi, he was Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat 11.
He also
and
voiced.
then Jax in the Legends film.
He also voiced Marshal Manhunter in some occasions, I know that.
I must defend the gate.
I guess this is him stretching his Warner Brother legs.
There you go. Now this teaches us also another thing, since in this case the orcs are bombarding the city with siege weapons.
I wonder if you can do team attack combos.
Fortunately, no. Well, you can have a sort of a mini party system in some missions, and you can give them an order to perform stealth kill while you remain, in the shadows, or you can perform, combination kills as in, but only for stealth as in. There are two enemies, kind of like in a Way Out. Your collaborator takes away one on the left, you take the one on the right, stuff like that. We will actually see proper in action as the game goes on. Again, also these first phases of the game also wants to, as you can see, also to give you a couple more different type of set pieces to resemble something that you will see in Gears of War, for example.
That was only the beginning. There'll be more. We have to find out what we're
It's
dealing with.
only the beginning.
Alright, where are we going?
We'll be able to see the entire lower city once we get there.
Also, yeah, stay away from the area of attack because those are, catapult projectiles we're not just about to hit.
It's not much further.
I'm trying to get into the Normandy shores here.
Yeah.
I mean, God.
I mean, to be fair, the obstacle there was more machine guns than catapults, but...
Oh.
Alright, it's a siege beast.
Siege beasts.
Yeah, the advantage is that Talion is more equipped to do more weirded out stuff, so let's get to it.
Commandeer one of the siege beasts.
Oh, look, the ghosts of arrow shot.
So basically now we're in Crash of the Titans.
We will actually see, yes. Now we need to get close to the siege beast and perform. Yeah, for some reason, despite the fact we're not being able to brand orcs, we are still able to brand beasts. I guess it's a case of, you know, minor beings. I don't know. And there we go. Thankfully, the act of branding, as you see, also is sped up more for the sake of, you know, allowing you to do it. And now it's time to play a turret section. Yes.
So, has this beast head literally just been replaced with a cannon?
No, it's just as you know the wooden structure on top of its back. It's basically a graug, which has a structure on top of it that can launch projectiles from the walls and commandeer it. I mean, these are technically fine, not really too much of a big deal. And again, these might be incorporated in a siege, so this also is the game teaching you a bit how it works in case you want to have those in the future. The thing about them is that they usually pack explosives. Destroying them or being destroyed by your commandeer, one of them, can be actually easy, so you need to watch out if an enemy has fire projectiles. And yes, we can just, once we're done with that, we can just kill it. Like this.
There's its head.
Yeah, it was just resting on his back. And now, out of nowhere, Celebrimbo remembers, oh wait, I can actually let you double jump. Where was this in the first game?
Celebrimbo talks a big game, but he does not seem to think ahead all that well.
Again, joking aside, the double jump is a great utility tool in case you want to traverse the rooftops and you don't want to, fall onto the ground.
Yeah,
again, this is also combined, for example, with pressing X, timing your X in order to move forward faster, or the new feature, as you will notice, the one who climbing objects faster if you play X. Again, the game gives you the tool that if you want to get from point A to point B in the easiest way possible, you can.
That's nice.
There we go. So I need to take a bunch of more orcs with these.
Sauron's armies have grown massively. A conventional victory against him will not be possible. We must secure the Palantir.
I get it, Celebrimbo. I'm trying to do that. Jesus.
It's gonna take a few steps.
Hard enough.
Look,
again, one of the things that I absolutely loved was the shit-posting roleplay that people had with Celebrimbo, wanting to be that kind of pestery, the one that pokes you on the shoulder, constantly telling Talion, the Palantir, get the Palantir, Talion. Like,
do it already.
There's literally a process to this. I can't just immediately whisk up and get it.
Again, these also
if you don't do it for the next hour, then we'll have lost.
Ever since the start of the game, it was brought up. Celebrimbo pretty much gave almost no contempt at all for the people of Minas Ithil, and essentially told Talion, just steal the Palantir and let them, sort out their own problems. Who cares about them? But then he's like, no, we have the capabilities. Let's try to help them while we're at it.
I get the feeling that in the first game they were trying to, keep the player guessing more so with, okay, how good a guy actually is Celebrimbo, whereas the sequel is just revealing with, yeah, he's the closest thing a good guy Sauron we're getting to. Which is, to me, not really that good, but hey, he's the guy opposing Sauron, so he's on our team.
At least they
Hi.
have the seams done. The gates are holding.
Yeah, that would really suck.
These relics were my life. My father was right. We must salvage what we can and leave.
You have a valuable weapon. The Seeing Stone gives you sight over your enemy. Use it. It is too dangerous. The Palantir is poison to men.
That is true. If you know anything, remember what happened to Saruman in the movies, the Palantir were First Age artifacts and not really to be used that lightly.
Oh boy.
I will fail as they have failed.
Remember, Sauron possesses a couple of them, so if you get into the wrong Skype call, you're gonna get, the equivalent of a predator. Though I wonder, considering a lot of people these days use more Discord and Zoom, do people even remember what Skype is at this point? Damn.
I mean, if they do, they sure as hell don't mention it much, and I guess that does kind of really put things into perspective. Well, okay, to be fair though, part of that is Skype's own fault, because Skype pulled a Kodak. They thought, oh, we were there first, so people will always stay loyal to us, regardless of whether something better comes along.
It's basically everything that YouTube is currently, with the difference that we don't really have a competitor that managed to rise.
Pretty much. Like, if a competitor came about that could match
Anyway,
wits with YouTube and eventually surpass it,
For
yeah.
the time being, we need to leave Minas Ithil, which is leaving to their own devices, and travel back to the Cirith Ungol region. There you go.
Huh.
To seek more answers to Shelob.
But I assume we'll be back.
Oh, absolutely, don't worry. You see also your quest log on the top left, which has different type of, quest that some of them will have been unlocked as the story goes on, but the order in which you take them is not automatically linear. Some of them you'll be able to take them in the order that you prefer, but not all of them.
One of the
Obviously.
symbols
So
looks like the
the,
emblem for the Rebel Alliance.
Is there any fast travel?
Yes. Aside from traveling from region to region, every time you unlock one of those eye towers, you can fast travel to one of them, or at the barrow, or at the very beginning of a map at the point where Talion gets in. So, this is this entire new region. This also has its own set of, artifacts and towers to conquer. So I think I'm gonna do those first. There you go. The gimmick about Cirith Ungol is that it is a set of caves and, wooden structures that you can climb around. They have their own fortress there on north, but we had to ignore it for the time being. Thankfully, there you go. One of the high deer is actually very close, and so is one of the worms. So let's get some info about, if I recall correctly, yes, the Castellan of this. But okay, no, for the time being you cannot. So let's get to. I'm still one of the captains, I guess. Later on, you will be able to use the information to get stuff about the people who hold the control of the fortress, or overlord, and the war chiefs, which in this case occupy secondary positions in the fortress. So yeah, the war chiefs, instead of being just a disorganized mass of bands, now in this case are lieutenants that work for the for the overlord in the region and at the fortress. Again, more on those when it will be time to actually conquer one of those.
They also definitely sped up even the upwards traversal.
Yeah, the climbing, as I mentioned. If you press X at the right time, Talion will just sprint upward. Like I said, the game actually allows you to travel as fast as you can if you want to go, going Sonic. Unfortunately, no spin dash, but what can you do? And it's not even like in case of Ocarina of Time where you can just, jump strafe or, roll out for maximum velocity.
Well, actually, too, as speedrunners will tell you, the fastest way to get around in Ocarina of Time is by using the sidestep.
That as an adult, but I remember that at least I remember recently from seeing Terminal Montage, for the child Link, the rolling is more effective.
I guess.
Fascinating.
The icon that represents the Minas Ithil 3, that one that's in the middle, represents the artifact. This previous cutscene with Idril kinda is a setup for this. From this point onward, there will be those Gondorian artifacts scattered from all of the maps that the orcs have captured in some kind of fashion. And every time you do get one of them, instead of being like in the first game with a text description and a memory attached to the artifact in that kind of question, you will just get a description of the item given you by Idril herself, and then a comment from Talion and Celebrim about it. Gesundheit.
What?
It's Elvish dweebs, it's for more people.
I'm not an elf.
I'm pretty sure you made that pretty much eloquent through viewing the movies.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the Elvish in the movies was translated at least.
Yes, sometimes it is done here. That also goes for the black speech of Mordor. Other times it's left, properly and not translated. But like I said, since it's actually based on the proper alphabets that Tolkien wrote, they're literally not just gibberish. They're formulating phrases. They're just not giving you, the courtesy of not knowing them if you don't know the alphabet.
If it's not translated, I can assume it's not really that important.
No, or at the very least, it's more of a case of the action is telling you more than what you do. Essentially, Celebrimbor in this case is applying a command word to say, "I take control of his location." Basically,
Yeah,
that's
which is
it.
fine. Otherwise, I thought it'd have been like that's the Elvis equivalent of "fuck off."
All right, the last idea of the region. And again, Alistair Duncan does a very decent job when it comes to the Elvish in terms of pronunciation and to convey the hamminess of Celebrimbor as a commander. Again, it's just those weird moments of having an accent sleeping here or there, like with the Palantir. But even in general, sometimes the game has weird pronunciation in general for some terms, like with Shelob, where they call her Shelob. Like the first part is supposed to be a pronoun, but it's not.
I guess otherwise we could definitely deem this as a game made in the way that even Tolkien would have envisioned it if he knew what a video game
As told
was.
at the end of the first part, where he totally would have actually said, yes, I totally envisioned the Shelob as a hot babe.
So, again, Shelob, not for nothing, if you had used that form to coax Frodo and Sam, you probably could have tricked them better and then eaten them.
You have to remember also the timestamp. This is still 60 years before the events of Lord of the Rings, and remember, even then, 20 extra years did pass between, the leaving of Bilbo and Frodo's start of the journey. Which also means that Shelob's unfortunately power weakened. Sure, she still was not your garden variety giant spider, but unfortunately she was not that powerful, and hence why she was still managed to, being defeated. Not killed, still defeated by Sam. Anyway,
So it's implied that she may have been mortally wounded.
But again, it's left a bit ambiguous. Anyway.
Oh, speaking of which...
Yeah, some spiders occasionally can jump on you and inflict poison, the bastards. Anyway, one way
Hey, we're trying to help your mom or something.
One way that you can do in order to track down a captain is to perform again those detective skills by inspecting a location and then going through the general direction where it leads to in order to eventually find the captain. Again, just because there's a focus on potentially the overlord or the warships, that doesn't exclude if you want to just hunt down a captain of your own, or they can hunt you down. That can easily happen too. There you go. With that brutalization, I did manage to avert most of the orcs in the area.
Yep.
Shank.
That looks like it hurt.
Alright, let's try to...
I mean, he had a limb cut off.
Well, that's
And
the thing,
also
Dwibs. Some of these orcs pretty much shake it off.
It really depends, because the Nemesis system is truly RNG. So let's try to surprise this guy. Let's see, maybe that Caragor bait can do? I guess not.
For this dog trespassing on your feast, show him the error of his ways.
Sure.
Thought you'd be more mad about me dropping your meat on you.
There we go. Now that's a party, definitely.
I love how you got their attention to make it seem like you were gonna fight fair, only to just pull a Dwibs there at the end.
Oh no, again, one of the best ways that you can do in the game is to use your technical ability to terrorize the orcs, or being tomfool about it.
Well, if the game rewards you for it, might as well.
Yeah, why not? Or at least doesn't punish you for it.
It depends. One thing that I did not manage to sadly trigger, but it's actually pretty cool if you do. If an orc has a captain has the trait of being arrow-proof, if you try to actually snipe them with an arrow, they can potentially have their intro cutscene catching them on point and telling you that it will not work. I really wish I was able to trigger that, but unfortunately, because RNG and stuff, I was not able. Another thing that can happen, a lot of times, some captains, warships, and overlords will erect some monuments that represent their tribe, whatever that would be. And demolishing them gives you something in return, a gem. The gems are essentially extra perks that you can apply to your equipment, and depending on the color, they have different effects. Green gems, for example, allow your weapons to subtract health, a small amount of health, every time you hit an enemy, or if they set applied to the armor, give you more like HP, for example. White gems are kind of a wild card, and green gems instead, and red gems instead are more about power, like for example power resistance for the armor and power effectiveness for the weapons. Very simple, and the more you gather, the more you can potentially craft into refining better gems.
You mean the Chaos Emeralds?
Yes. The Chaos Emeralds.
Joe, but
Well,
there are
only 3 types in these games. Again, red, green, and white. Alright, you also have these small outposts, which I'll only show a small occasion just to give you an idea, which function exactly like they will be the missions where you capture, get the warships in the previous game. You have to perform a specific task that's happening, like say kill a particular set of enemies, or free the cargoes. Also, this captain was not included in the equation, so this guy's gonna be an extra inconvenience. And when you do, the respective captain, in this case, not the warship, the respective captain will show up, and you will be able to take them down.
Man, the captains are coming even more out of the woodwork than in the DLC.
Yeah, like you said. That's the general theme of the game. The war is escalated, and so everything else. Like it's not playing around anymore. And like I said, also in the first game, it does recreate that kind of effect of bigger scale war and unpredictable events that were happening in the movies. Again, it's kind of like the stock phrase of you feel like you're playing as X characters, particularly Batman, for example. In this case, you do feel like you're playing, something equivalent to the Peter Jackson movie, just with its own original tale.
And you know what? Again, I do like that immersive bout there. It reminds me of the game Scarface: The World Is Yours, which legit does feel like a sequel to the Scarface movie.
Yeah, well, it's more like a what-if scenario.
Well, you know what I mean.
A what-if sequel, yes.
Yeah, a what-if sequel.
Yeah, like what if Tony turned around while he was shooting people?
Yeah, just something as easy as that.
And that's all it took. Hello.
The thing is, you don't want my attention.
Hey.
Ooh. Burn. Anyway, I'm surprised that, these sort of fear mechanics, influencing the mooks. I'm surprised that never made it into any of the Arkham games, now that I think about it.
After this was done 2 years after Arkham Knight, and ever since the DC games did not have much, we're getting again the Wonder Woman video game, so we'll have to see how much of this gets to play out in that game.
Right, because they did confirm that game is apparently using the Nemesis system.
And again, we only theorize what we can do about it, like say the Lasso of Truth, being more of a case of maybe the Nemesis system is regarding random mooks, like random criminals, like you can gain potentially superpowers, and potentially become a nuisance if you let them run too wild. Maybe the reason why Wonder Woman cannot die is because being part of the gods cannot be killed that conventionally.
I could see there also being something of a redemption factor, seeing as how Wonder Woman does make it a note that when she can, to try and redeem her foes.
I get the idea it might be more towards the story than in the gameplay itself, but again, it's literally just speculation. We will have to see how it plays out.
Like I was saying, I was surprised that in none of the Arkham games, not even Knight, the latest of them, that we got something like the fear mechanics in this game. Oh snap, he can counter.
I got payback for sneaky ranger tricks.
Oh really? Oh fuck. Yeah, that's a new type
dear.
of counter that some captains can have. If they perform that kind of combo, you need to press triangle to dodge rather than counter properly, because otherwise you get hit by a lot of damage. Again, since we're that early in the game, it's still, you know, perfectly doable. Like, but otherwise, there we go. Oh, come on, Town. That was just a mild inconvenience in the spine.
I know, right? Like, honestly, in regards to Captain or War Chief kills, that was honestly one of his more tame ones.
And it was done using an execution.
Huh.
Alright,
Oh snap, the enemy's raising the alarm.
No, don't worry, because of... There you go, because now we're getting back to the main story, and because of that, every time we start a mission, everything around our area gets cleaned up.
So, just ignore that alarm he was ringing.
Yes, basically. Oh fuck. New enemy type, the Olo guy. Essentially trolls. I got them.
Wow, saved by Gollum.
Gollum survives this, by the way.
Of course he does.
The Olo guy, these are chunky boys. Essentially, you cannot really fight them in the same conventional way you will do the normal enemy, but if you headshot them properly, you will be able to, like, say, climb them. The big thing about it is that when they're about to attack you, you need to actually slide under them. I just made it look easy because they perform an execution, but trust me, future fight with Olo guys will be a bit harder. And yes, they can become captain too.
Oh, goody! A war chief of these. That would
Or
be...
even overlords.
Oh boy. Alright, overlords. I'm guessing those are the new rank added in this
Yeah,
game.
so the big ones that hold command of the fortress. Yeah, you were trying to kill us last time. Fuck off.
He is working for the spy.
Don't call me stupid.
Dark mistress watches over Gollum. Gollum
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
That's why eventually you tried to feed Sam and Frodo to her.
Well, remember, that was a thing also in the books. Gollum,
Right.
during his travels, managed to befriend the Shelob somehow.
And you can't always choose your allies. We don't.
That's our best choice.
So,
Let's
we're
follow
cool,
Gollum.
right? You know, despite how we ended things last game.
Don't get too attached to Gollum. Aside from a set of initial missions here, he then pretty much disappears from the rest of the game.
That is weird. Seeing
Yeah.
as how he had enough of a recurring presence in the first
And it's
game.
not even a case where the game acknowledges much. Like, it basically is a case of it shows the initial mission, and then you get towards the end of the game and they were like, wait, when did we say goodbye to him? And then you're like, no, we didn't.
So is the idea more so that, oh, like, he's gotten over us kind of dicking him over in regards to the ring?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And
right,
then,
we still have yet to see his reaction to there being two Prussiuses.
in this case, it's more also because, probably because Shelob has the ring forced by Talion and Celebrimbor. For the time being, we just need to follow Gollum towards the new location that Shelob has.
I know it's a run cycle, but it looks a bit awkward for poor
That's because you
Gollum.
can run while still, being hunchback, the stealth position.
I know why you are here.
Return what you have stolen.
Silence, Ringmaker. You forget.
Wow, for once the NPC has more respect for Talion than for Celebrimbor.
You begged me to have it. And what of you, Talion?
I am here for Minas Ithil.
You seek to save it. Even though it may already be lost.
No, I seek to blow it up.
There must be a way.
There's got to be a better way.
In your
Yeah, blow it up.
Are you tired of your city blowing up because of orcs?
What end?
Then blow it up yourself.
Knowledge.
Oh?
Teammate? Oh, you don't have to tell me. Here is your truth.
No, please don't flash me! The local overlord is hiring an assassin.
closest. Killer pink skin. The bigger the target.
Which will kill eventually Idril, probably. And that's also bad news. Since enough time has passed, the Nazguls are about to return. That's a
Oh
problem.
boy. Those guys are a pain to deal with.
Hope it's not the Witch King of Agmar.
Oh, that's their leader. Well, he will eventually show up too, logically.
She can be saved.
She will live or die with honor, and it will not shift the tide of war. It is Castamere who must be protected.
Are you having feelings for her, Talion?
Who's the Palantir?
Oh my god, enough!
Why don't you marry the Palantir?
Believe me, I tried to.
What a team! Talion, the Ghost, the Spider, and Gollum. These are the good guys.
I mean, it's war, baby. What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
But yeah, for the time being, still follow Gollum, because you need to follow the vision that Shelob gave to you. Essentially, you need to trace back the steps of the assassin before he actually departs for Minas Ithil, and, you know, trying to intercept him, if you can.
This area that Shelob was in, I don't think these are this is the place we first ran into her, so I assume Shelob's also following us around too?
No, she's just monitoring from her location. Remember, she's all that mighty and powerful, and if I had to guess, the ring boosts her up even a bit.
Huh. A story with Shelob as the main antagonist.
Well, again, she's mostly just there to, for the time being, to give us indication, but she's still being that kind of ambiguous.
Yeah, that's the thing. If she just wanted the ring, she could have it and be off, so...
Again, all of this will make sense by the end. Okay, again, you're not supposed to, you know, like it, but... anyway, tutorial for, again, the war guy flies. Same as before, you know, hit the nest, everyone dies.
Earlier you said you recognized the assassin's curved blade. So you can see Shelob's visions.
Yes, bright master.
Okay. Hi, Sam Regal. Yes, Jova. Sam Regal also is one of the voice types that you can get for the orcs. I did not run into him that much, so he's probably more specialized in the common folk.
That's possible.
Anyway, fortunately for this one we were a bit too late, but maybe we can still track him down.
We're on the right track.
He's been dead for some time. We'll need to move faster if we want to catch up with the assassin.
Trying to? Jeez.
As the assassin kills his way up the hierarchy, he'll continue to seek bigger targets. Like
hey, that's our job.
I mean, that's them's the rules of Mordor anyway.
We know the nasty orc is here, but we forget where exactly.
Stay full Gollum, we'll get to that.
Yep.
Thankfully, again, this is not an escort mission. Gollum can take care of himself, you know, and the enemies will not really target him.
I figure, like, given all that he's survived, it would kind of be a little silly if we suddenly have to protect him for that.
Again, you just need to follow the footprints for the matter until you reach the dead body that is right there. There we go. And also let's clean up the air before examining the body.
Let me guess, they can interrupt you and attack you
well,
if you're doing
again,
that?
since you entered this small cutscene-esque state, I did not want it potentially to be ambushed afterward.
We are getting closer.
Gollum should know where the next target is.
That's finally some good news, I guess.
Yeah, come to think of it, yeah, our heroes have not had a lot of great news so far.
It's a rocky start for this very reason. Again, it also showcased that we need to gain back our power, but it's not gonna be an easy road to it. and at the same time, we have a bunch of problems we need to take care of.
Again, I guess it shows how desperate we are that Shelob and Gollum are the people we need to rely on in our corner.
Again, though, that being said, again, compared to the previous game, Talion has interacted properly with people from Gondor. Remember, Minas Ithil is an actual proper location of Gondor. It's not where the Rangers were situated like the Black Gate. And
I get the feeling that the first
some initial reaction, don't worry, these are just a bunch of ghouls, and there you go, the patrol are patrolling to destroy, complete with an Orlog. And again, despite the fact, aside from some minor initial remark, the people of Minas Ithil were actually welcoming Talion instead of saying, "Oh, a ranger, you are supposed to be an outcast," you know. So thankfully, you know, there's not too much prejudice in his regard, and he's able to interact with fellow men after spending almost an entire game surrounded by orcs, you know.
Yeah, I do get the feeling that whereas the first game was more of a testing ground of sorts, this game they were definitely a lot more confident with having the character interact with legacy characters from the franchise.
Yes and no. Again, we will see in due time. Again, they still did not want it to go the easy route and say, "Oh, suddenly Gandalf shows up to help our character."
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, like, well, Gandalf is like, you know, that's like putting Starscream into a Transformers game that more or less has just original characters. Like, it's the iconic big character that just everyone knows about.
Or any other Fellowship characters. Remember, at around this point, Legolas technically could have been able to show up, but again, they still, you know, were wanting to restrain themselves.
Playing as Legolas. How many cheat codes?
I mean, when you really get down to it, thanks to Celebrimbor, we're kind of getting that experience. So.
I don't know, like, imagine if Legolas went above and beyond, even without the ring.
Before you die, can you tell us something, please? Let's get to intel about the poisonous Dark Assassin. Yes, the Assassins are a class of their own, and like he said, they can be very nasty. They can ambush you very easily. They can show up at the worst possible moments, like you're in the middle of a fight, and maybe you call, you know, an ally and just base shot instead. They can potentially kill a spy that you can infiltrate potentially. Again, you always have to watch out for those and try to, you know, get rid of them as soon as possible. But there's a cool thing. This guy is fearing the Morgal flies, so let's see if we can actually exploit that to our advantage. There is a nest near him, but let's see if we can actually trigger it properly. Actually, you know, getting close to him, you know.
The walking
is
useless.
And yes, it's also voiced by Nolan North. Like I said, bless be Nolan North, cool voice and everything, but he can oust himself very easily. Oops.
So if you're here to stop me, you'll be sorely disappointed.
Oh, am I? That's a nice nest you have behind you.
Get them away from me!
A deep and scary assassin! Well, okay,
bees.
When an enemy is dazed, also they temporarily lose all of their resistances. So if they were immune to something and instead you manage to exploit that, you can go to town on them that easily.
I will say this assassin...
all the people had to do whenever they faced orcs in Lord of the Rings, all they had to do was have a swarm of bees with them.
Well, some of them might be resistant to them, or maybe just even enraged. Yes, Gollum is dead.
Minas Ithil will go the way of all flesh. We only need the Seeing Star.
At least you don't call it the Palantir.
I was about to say.
Was lost in that ring.
Fuck you too then.
Whoa! The lack of answering sure fills me with confidence, Kellen Brimmore.
I'm sure he's gonna be fine. Being Talion is suffering.
Again, look at the people he has to hang out with. A giant evil spider.
And again, reminder,
Gollum.
the last thing that he did before all of this was seeing his family brutally murdered in front of his eyes. God damn.
Yeah. And you know, he was given an out at some point, but God bless him, he is just too noble to let things go undone.
Your drilling customers should be safe for now.
But the siege of Minas Ithil continues. The Palantir is
Oh my
still
God.
at risk of falling into enemy hands.
Like I said, don't start a drinking game.
This might, yeah, I think a drinking game around that would be more dangerous than the Stephen King drinking game.
We should finish what we started and kill the war chief's final bodyguard.
Fair enough. That's what we're.
Alright,
We're not
then.
gonna do that in the next part, if I recall correctly, because instead we're gonna focus on the artifact. But before finishing the part, let me explain quickly the mechanic that they introduced at the end of this, the death threat. While branding someone, or at least getting a worm, to interrogating a worm, you can issue a death threat to a captain, as in essentially Talion telling them, "Oh, I'm not really scared of you. Fight me IRL, bro." And it will create a unique mission where you can challenge the captain, in single combat. But like I said, I don't really do that because the missions that are provided throughout the rest of the game are, more varied enough. While instead, the death threat one are not particularly, unique. So don't worry, you will definitely get your variety, just in on days. Anyway, see you for the next part when we get the artifacts.
Yeah.
See ya.